بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. It is quite a vast topic. We'll try to cover the key parts of it, inshallah. Islam, the religion of Islam, as a means of restoring balance amidst the turmoil that we witness in the world. It's quite a paradox in itself because today in the world, Islam is not seen as a religion that is peaceful or that has anything to offer human beings other than violence and conflict. And it's what we've been seeing almost for the last 30 years, in particular in the Muslim world. You know, it's almost 30 years now since we started in Afghanistan, moved to Somalia, and then to Iraq, and onwards and onwards. And before that, we had the Palestinian issue. So we can see today in the Muslim world, you know, it's very difficult to convince people that it's a peaceful religion. And at the same time, or a religion that offers solutions to the problems of human beings. Rather, it seems to be a religion that is looked upon as creating the conflicts that are in the world. While also in our non-Muslim world, like here in the West, the image of Islam and Muslims is associated so much with, again, acts of violence, terrorism, fear, you know, that's the image that we have. So, yeah, the title seems very contradicting. How can we say that this is a religion that is supposed to bring peace into the world? Well, it's not Islam that is standing accused. There's us Muslims, you know. Maybe we have never asked, what is Islam, the religion of Islam, aiming at? What is its primary objective or primary objectives? What is it aiming at? Is religion the problem? Is Islam the problem? Or is it man, human beings, or Muslims in particular were the problem? Right. So we hope we'll be able to address that, inshallah, today. Now, again, there's the issue of balance, right? If we're talking about balancing and imbalance, then can we definitely say that the world has been balanced and the world is imbalanced now? Now, in our own teachings, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala informs us about this aspect of balancing. It's a very key theme in our religion, balancing, the act of balancing, and the balancing on Yawm al-Qiyamah. It continues from this world into the next world. So like in one of the verses where Allah says, وَالْأَرْضُ مَدَدْنَاهَا وَأَلْقَيْنَا فِيهَا رَوَاسِيَ وَأَنبَتْنَا مِنْ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ مَوْزُونٍ. You know, we've spread out the earth, وَأَلْقَيْنَا فِيهَا رَوَاسِيَ, and set the mountains firm on the earth, and then وَأَنبَتْنَا فِيهَا مِنْ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ مَوْزُونٍ, and then we made everything to grow on this earth in balance. Right? It's in balance. And وَالسَّمَاءَ رَفَعَهَا وَوَضَعَ الْمِيزَانَ. You know, and when the heavens, we raise them up, وَوَضَعَ الْمِيزَانَ, and put the balance. أَلَّا تَتَغَوْا فِي الْمِيزَانِ, so that you don't transgress this balance. And in another verse, وَلَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا رُسُولَنَا بِالْبَيِّنَاتِ وَأَنزَلْنَا مَعَهُمُ الْكِتَابَ وَالْمِيزَانَ. You know, we send our messengers with the bayina and we give them books, وَالْمِيزَانِ, and the balance, right? So that لِيَحْكُمَ بَيْنَ النَّاسِ بِالْعَدْلِ, you know, to judge amongst human beings equitably in a balanced manner. So there is this concept of balancing in our own teachings. And what state is the world in today? Is it a balanced state or is it an imbalanced state? And balancing and imbalancing is something that we're continuously doing every moment of our lives. Every day we're trying to balance, to restore balance, or we're imbalancing. This is on a daily basis. Now, interesting also is when we come to the human being himself, the body has its own system of maintaining balance, like homeostasis, which is very interesting, that it does this unconscious of us, of our own consciousness. It doesn't need it. It's been doing this since the day we came into this world. So this is homeostasis. It's a system where, restoring balance within the human cell and the human body. But what about beyond that? Is there another way that we're balancing the human self, right? Now, what happens when there is an imbalance in the human body, right? What happens? There is either disease. Disease will come up forward, or if this lack of homeostasis continues for too long, then it can even result to death. So subhanAllah, that Allah has also created the human body itself to maintain balance. And again, if we look into the cosmos, right, we see the same thing. There is balance, there is order, right? So where does the imbalance come from that we see in the world? Where does all this chaos, conflict, violence, where is it coming from that we're witnessing in the world, that we're witnessing in the Muslim world? What's its origin? Right? Is it religion? Or is it man? Or is it a failure to understand both? Right? So we're hoping that we will find answers to that today. Right? Now let's think about this. If this earth did not have human beings on it, would it be imbalanced? Would there be corruption on it?
No.
Would there be diseases on this earth? Definitely no, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already said that when He created it, He balanced it, right? And there's a verse, قَالَ رَبُّنَا, when Pharaoh has this discussion going on with Nabi Musa alayhi salam, who's your Lord? And Nabi Musa says, قَالَ رَبُّنَا الَّذِي أَعْطَى كُلَّ شَيْءٍ خَلْقَهُ ثُمَّ هَدَى. Our Lord is one who gave everything its creation, its way of being. ثُمَّ هَدَى, and then guided it. Right? So everything has been given its way of being, including the human being. He has a way of being in this world. Right? Now, it's only human beings, and who else? Which other creation that can go against this? The jinns. And why is that so? Because we are the only ones who have free will. And we have free will, so we can go against that, right? Now, in other words, Allah says, "Sunna Allah alladhi atkana kulla shay." This is the way Allah created everything and perfected it, right? Everything has been created and perfected. Even the human being has a perfection, but does he know his perfection? Right? Do you know your perfection? So where is all this violence coming from? Where is all this conflict coming from? Right? If, like say, the earth in itself is neutral. It's neutral. Now look at what the angels told Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah says, "Inni ja'ilun fil ardi khalifa." I'm going to put on the earth khalifa. Interesting, he didn't say "Inni ja'ilu fil dunya." So fil ardi khalifa. Why is that so? Because the earth is neutral in itself. It's here to serve human beings, right? This is it's created for us, and Allah says that. وَالَّذِي سَخَرَ لَكُم مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ. He subdued everything in the heavens and in the earth for us human beings, right? But dunya is what we do with the earth, right? The things that we're going to do on this earth now becomes the dunya, right? The relationships that we're going to have, the resources of this of the earth, how we're going to exploit it and use it, becomes the dunya, right? So now the angel said, "Inni ja'ilun fil ardi," when Allah said, "Inni ja'ilun fil ardi khalifa," I'm going to put a vicegerent on the earth, right? And they immediately say, "Ataj'alu fiha," will you put one there? "Man yufsidu fiha wa yasfiku dima," who will corrupt it, wa yasfiku dima, and shed blood. So it is the human being who once he's down here is going to corrupt this earth and shed blood. But why is that so? Is it because he's following religion? Or is it because he's not following religion? Right? Why is he going to do this? What is he failing to comprehend, the human being, that leads him to this? Right? I just want to read slightly a little bit here from Dr. William Chittick, who talks about this aspect of the human being being given the vicegerency of the earth. So one of the things he says, the microcosm and macrocosm are united through the divine link that was established when God made man his vicegerent. The clear import of this Quranic anthropology is that among the creatures, man alone can destroy the earth. Man alone can destroy this earth, right? And then he says, when God created human beings, he made them his vicegerents in the earth. To represent God as his vicegerent means that people have a responsibility toward other creatures. Ignoring God's commandments results in evil consequences, not only for those who do so, but also for the whole of creation, over which mankind was given power. Disobeying God results in the corruption and ruin of the earth itself. Right? So, it is only human beings and not any other creatures who have upset the equilibrium of the environment, the balancing of the environment. This means that it is we who no longer live in harmony with what surrounds us. We have destroyed the proper relationship between ourselves and the cosmos. And by the same token, between ourselves and God. Right? And then here it is repeating that Islam includes in the cosmos not only the world that we can see, but also the invisible world. Right? So we human beings can corrupt both the seen and the unseen world. It is us human beings who can do that. But then why is that so is the key question here. Now, if we look at the world today, over 90% of all the conflicts that we see in this world, and I'll say really over 90% of all the conflicts, the turmoil that we see in this world, its origin stems from our own inner conflict. Really, it's just human beings manifesting outwardly their own inner state, which they have not understood, and then they bring it out into the world. This is, almost everywhere we find that. It's not because somebody is telling you just go and kill someone, and you just go and kill it. It's you yourself have to be in an unstable state, in a conflicted state, to accept certain commands which go against you, which go against your nature. So over 90% of these conflicts that we see in the world stem from our own inner conflicts, right? Where do these inner conflicts originate from? Where are they originating from? Right? Now, I have three answers to that. Number one, our own upbringing, right? Our childhood experiences. There are those who may be fortunate that they will have a proper upbringing and they will not grow up in a conflicted state. And then there's a majority of human beings who, the circumstances of their lives and their bringings already create conflicts within them, right? And these conflicts can go up to the level of being a trauma. And then they will bring this out into the world. So, like we are told, a lot of these child abusers who at one point abused themselves as children, or people who inflict violence on others was because violence was inflicted upon them when they were young. So there is that as an origin of some of the conflicts we see in the world. The second one, I would say, stems from how we are pursuing the worldly life. Right? How we conduct our lives as adults. Right? Is there a way that we should pursue the worldly life? Right? So a lot of these conflicts will come from that. how are we pursuing the worldly life? And who is pursuing the worldly life becomes the key question. And then the third one, where this conflict stems from, is our failure to know who we are. What does it mean to be a human being? Right? What does it mean to be a human being? Now, pursuing the worldly life is inevitable. We will do that. Why is that so? Allah has already said in the Quran, once you arrive in this world and you're going to be given life on it, زُيِّنَ لِلنَّاسِ حُبُّ الشَّهَوَاتِ مِنَ النِّسَاءِ وَالْبَنِينَ وَالْقَنَاطِرِ الْمُقَنطَرَةِ من الذهب والفضة والخيل المسومات والأنعام والحرث. We have adorned for human beings. We have endeared to them the love of women, the love of this world, the love of children, the love of the plantations, the gold, the silver. It's already been adorned in you. It's been made, attractive to us. So once we get here, we are going to desire the things of the dunya. Okay? And then in another verse he said, وَلَا تَنْسَوْا نَصِيبَكَ فِي الدُّنْيَا. Don't forget your portion of the world. Don't forget your portion of the world. So we will pursue the world. But the question now becomes, how should we pursue the world? That's where the conflicts are coming from. Right? How should we live life? Okay? And you'll get answers from the systems that are out there. And there are three main ways or systems that will tell you how you're supposed to live your life in this world or pursue the things of the world. Number one is the cultural, right? So, there's still some people who the way they live and pursue life is cultural. It's just very cultural. There's still some, although nowadays it's almost a monolithic culture encompassing the whole world. But there are people where they live, they only know one way of living life, what has been handed to them through their culture. Although they're few in between now, but you can still find them, maybe in the Amazons. And it may be against who they are, or it may be according to who they are, according to what the human being is, right? So there's the cultural. And then you have the secular, which is, which is almost all over the world. It's a secular way of living life. It tells you how you're supposed to conduct your life, and it will put you through a system that takes you through that way of doing it, which will begin with the educational system, and then you'll find your political and the economic system. So the secular will tell you this is the way you're supposed to pursue life, right? And then finally, there will be what? Religion. Religion will also tell us this is how we're supposed to live life, right? It will, and all this they will have their own laws, their own governance, their own conditions, like the golden rules in pursuing life. Don't take from the other and what is not yours, isn't it? Don't steal from them. Whether it's cultural or secular, they'll tell you all that, right? But then some of it will be in conflict with who you are as a human being. That's the whole problem. So, which system will tell you correctly who you are as a human being? Right? Because all the conflicts in the world, all the turmoil is stemming from what? Man. It's the human being. He's the reason for all of this. Right? Now, maybe he doesn't know how to conduct himself in this world. So now we're looking at religion. Religion is not the source of conflict. It is man failing to know who he is. But who is man? What makes you a human being? What is it that makes you a human being? And again, we're going to have systems which will try and give us answers to what a human being is. I want to quote here from John Halley. Mashallah is another scholar. He's a Muslim scholar, mashallah. He embraced Islam quite a long time back. Dr. John Halley. And I'll just read a little bit here what he says about what the secular world thinks what the human being is, and then we look at what religion says about what the human being is. So the human persona of humanity, whether it is body, mind, or soul, inspires interrogatives. Who is man? What is the significance of his human nature? How has he come into being? Why does he exist? And what is his purpose here on earth? Yet beyond these perennial enigmas of origin, center, meaning, and final end lie the profound and more disturbing factors that strike at the core of our conscious existence. Is the human being merely a physical being that is the accidental product of spontaneous and chance contingencies as modern science would have us believe? A being who has evolved through a process that appears to be a straight line leading from nowhere and heading into oblivion as modern science would have us believe. So is this what a human being is? Modern psychology represents the study of humanity from the purely human point of view, rather than the metaphysical point of view set forth as a perennial philosophy at the heart of the great world religions. It seeks solutions to the problems of modern civilizations by an analysis of human nature and psychology, right, through the humanities and through the sciences. So this is what modern psychology is telling us what a human being is. And that's where the whole conflict comes. If man doesn't know himself, then how is man going to solve the problems that he's encountering in the world? And the problems will always be there. Right? They will always be there. So we have a secular view, or we can call it profane view of what a human being is. And then we have the religious view of what a human being is. Now, if we want to solve the turmoil that we find in the world, the imbalances that we find in the world, without addressing the cause of all this in the proper and correct manner, we will not be able to do that. So we must understand who the human being is, where your conflict is stemming from, its root cause, its origin. Then we can solve these problems. And this is what we have to teach other human beings, right? So we have the inevitable in our lives. And the first of this is your human nature. You cannot escape that human nature, which our religion calls your fitra, right? We Muslims have to understand what our fitra is. There is no child born except they are born in this fitra. Okay? So what is this fitra? وَأَقِيمُوا وَجْهَكَ لِلدِّينِ حَنِيفًا فِطْرَةَ اللَّهِ الَّتِي فَطَرَ النَّاسَ عَلَيْهَا. This is the fitra that Allah has given every human being. So turn your face towards this religion. This religion is what? Is the fitra. So how can you live without religion? How can religion be the problem? How can Islam be the problem? Now, inna Allah jamilun yuhibbu jamal. Allah is beautiful and He loves that which is beautiful. Since Allah is beautiful and He loves what is beautiful, what else can Islam be other than a beautiful religion? And what else can those who practice it truly be other than what? Beautiful human beings. Beautiful human beings. Today we even have Muslims who are abandoning this religion. We have Muslims now. We even have a council of ex-Muslims, right, which is trying to rescue Muslims from their religion. Really, it's headed by Muslims, former Muslims. They're trying to rescue us from our religion. We're in trouble, they think. Our religion is destroying us. It's destroying who we are as human beings. But who are you as a human being? Do you know who you are? Do you know what drives you? Where are you going to find the answers? The secular system? They have never stopped being in conflict about life, about meanings, about purpose. Their paradigms are always shifting. It's never stable. One day we are this, another day we are that, right? Now consciousness is an epiphenomenon of the brain. Right? We know the answers, we know what it is. They don't know. We have known this for 1,400 years, but maybe we have not known it as we should. Right? Maybe we haven't known it as we should. So to address that imbalance, we must address who we are as human beings. And what we are as human beings, the fitra of a human being. Where is this pursuit of dunya stemming from? Where is this desires coming from? Is it the chemical reactions in us? Where is life taking place? Really? Where is life taking place? Okay? Now I've said this before, I'm going to repeat it today. I said before that everything outside of us in our lives is a means. It is a means. But a means to what? It is a means to what state will it put us in? Because it is affecting us. And where is it affecting us? That's where life is taking place. Life is not taking place in our hands. It's not taking place in our eyes. The senses bring it in. But where is all this being understood, recognized, formulated, and then acted upon? Where is this particular place? Right? Once we have understood that, we can solve our problems. So everything is a means. Now, as we are here today, my talking here, the words, they are a means. They are a means to what? They are affecting you in some way or the other. Right? One can listen to words and go to sleep. One can listen to words and feel inspired. But those words are a means. Now, when you go home or before you left the house, your family was a means. In the morning or in the evening, they were affecting your state. Right? Either you left home happy or unhappy, but they affected you. Right? When you go to work, the people you interact with, the job itself, it's a means. It is affecting you in one way or the other. And then that's how you will be in life. So if my health is a means. When I'm not healthy, look at how I am. Right? I'm down. Right? I'm not looking alive and lively. Right? When I have a job and when I don't have a job. When I have money and when I don't have money. I'm not in the same state. And you can meet me. Sometimes you can meet a person and say, you're looking down today. Because it's reflected. But what's making them be down? Something of the dunya. Something of the dunya. So it is affecting us, these things of the dunya. Now our religion comes to teach us how to pursue these things of the dunya. How to conduct our lives as per these things of the dunya. Right? So everything outside of us will be a means to how it's going to affect our inner state. But what is this inner state? This inner state is governed by your soul and your heart. You must understand that you have a nafs and you have a qalb. You have a soul and you have a heart. And that's where all these desires are stemming from, all these conflicts. When there is an imbalance in there. When it is balanced, you will behave differently. When it is imbalanced, you will behave differently. Right? So when we look, for example, into at the Muslim world now, okay, there is all this imbalance. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already told us, if we live life in a certain way, we will see the consequences of that. And as Muslim, we must recognize that. We must recognize that. We cannot just live life as per reasoning. We cannot do that. So we understand how the physical and metaphysical work, right? So when we live life as sinners, what do we expect? We expect problems. Right? We expect problems, but both in our outer lives and our inner lives. That's what we are going to encounter. And when we live life righteously, again, we will see the results, outwardly and inwardly. Right? And this is inevitable. You cannot escape this. That's what people, those who think they can live without religion don't understand. استجيبوا لله ورسوله إذا دعاكم لما يحييكم. Answer the call of Allah and His Messenger when He calls you to that which gives you life. That which gives you life. So if you think, for example, we see today's world where marriage is being destroyed, right? And people believe that it's all about just agreeing and being in harmony and, being in love and we live together and go on with our lives. But we know religion will not accept that. Is it just because it's a physical thing? No, because we believe in the metaphysical. We believe in the metaphysical. Man is the one who joins the heavens and the earth. Right? That's what it means to be the Khalifa. The way we behave here will also affect what's up above us and what's going to come from below us. Right? So when we see calamities in the world, where are we looking at? We have to look at how are we conducting our lives. We have to look at that. If we don't do that, we're not going to solve the problems. We're not going to solve the problem. Religion has the answer because the problem is you, the human being. You haven't understood that you're affecting the world that you're living in. You're affecting the environment that you're in. And this is why we're told that we must what? وَلْتَكُنْ مِنْكُمْ أُمَّةٌ يَدْعُونَ إِلَى الْخَيْرِ يَأْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَيَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنكَرِ. There must be amongst from you people who call towards what is good. They command the good and they forbid the evil. Why is that so? مَنْ رَأَى مِنْكُمْ مُنْكَرٍ فَلْيُغَيِّرُ بِيَدِهِ فَإِنْ لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ فَبِلِسَانِهِ فَإِنْ لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ فَبِقَلْبِهِ. Why are we being exhorted to stop the evil? Because the evil will harm you. It will harm your environment. It will harm your society. This is the teachings of our religion. But this is not just a teaching of choice. There is no choice in this. This is the laws that Allah set. Because there is no other creator other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And He has set these laws. We have to abide by them. But then sometimes we transgress these laws, right? Then we see the consequences. Then what happens after that? What do we do next? So once we understand that the conflicts stem from inside of us, by doing what? Disobeying the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. By failing to submit our will to the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now once we do that, we're going to restore the balance. Right? We're going to restore that which has been distorted. Because who is distorting? Human being. Why is that so? He has not understood the origin of his desires. It is not in your physical body. You have to not have a proper understanding of your soul. What affects the soul and what affects the heart. And I'm not going into detail into that. I have done a talk about that before. But this is the key issue. The turmoil we see in the world, all of these conflicts, is the state of our souls and heart. And that state depends so much on how much we are applying the teachings of our deen. So our religion is the solution. Why? Because our religion, and in particular the religion of Islam, is the only one which truly tells you who you are, what you are, who is a human being. So the question now is, what exactly do I want in the world? What do I want from the world? What is it that I'm pursuing? Right? I want this, I want that, I want that. I have all these desires. But to what ends? To what ends am I following all these things? To what end am I waking up and working and earning money and then getting married? What is it that I'm actually seeking? Do we know what exactly we want? Or do we just wake up every day hoping for something great in our lives? Really? What is it that I really hope for in life? Again, we come back to religion for the answer. Really. Once we understand that the soul and the heart is what is dictating your life, right? Then what we know about the two of them? The soul has been created to arrive at what state? Mutma'inna. Mutma'inna. Ya ayyatuha nafsul mutma'inna. Oh, you tranquil soul. So the soul has a journey to arrive at some point. And then the heart has a journey to arrive at some point. Which is what? Qalbun salim. The sound heart. Right? So you're supposed to arrive at this sound heart and this tranquil soul. Meaning what now? What I said earlier on. If everything outside of us is a means and affecting us, and we can see that how it affects us is always fluctuating, right? Sometimes maybe it's affecting me in a good way, sometimes in a bad way. But can I arrive at a state where the means no longer change my state? But what state would that be? What state would that be? What state do I want to arrive at?
Tranquility.
I want to find peace in life. I want to find happiness in life. I want to be content with life. That's what I want. Because I may not be able to control the means. And we can see that, right? We see that. 10 of you go out, 3 of you want to do something good, 7 want to do something bad, the winners do the bad thing, the other 3 are affected. Right? And this is what's happening all over the world. If you look at the Muslim world, let's say Iraq, let's say Syria, is it all the Muslims there who just wanted to become sinners and then have their world destroyed? No. It's not. But amongst them there will be those who will, that's what they will work to. So you may not be able to control what state everyone will be in. But what they will do as per those states will come to affect you. But you still want to be peaceful in your state. Right? So I'm an individual now, I'm a bachelor, I find a job, I'm peaceful, I'm enjoying life, I'm flourishing, I get married. Right? My wife or my husband comes into my life. What state are they in? When I married them, I thought maybe it's beautiful, right? It's all wonderful. Then suddenly conflicts are coming in. Why? Because I was settled, but my wife wasn't, or my husband wasn't. He's conflicted. Maybe he or she comes from a traumatized background. Now I have to deal with that. I have to deal with that. Now, if I am conflicted, what happens now? We have 2 conflicts going on in the house. Right? And this is happening in all situations. Because everyone is conflicted. But what about when you are at that state of peace and contentment? What do you do now to the conflicted one? You help them come out of their conflict state. Right? You help them find the peace and tranquility that you are now aware of. And this is how we are going to change the world. We are going to change the world by working on our own conflicted states, first and foremost. And that means we have to have a good understanding of how our soul and heart is traversing this world on a daily basis. on a daily basis. The soul has endless desires. It will never stop desiring. That's the way it is, really. And there are those who know the knowledge of playing with it, right? Now, if you're not aware of what is going on in your inner state, you'll keep pursuing those desires. It's very interesting. Allah says, وَمَنْ يُوكَ شُوحَ نَفْسِهِ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. And those who are saved from these desires of the soul, these are the ones who are successful. These are the ones who are successful. وَأُحْضِرَتِ الْأَنفُسُ الشُّوحَ. And the nafsis surrounded by this. They're swayed by the greed, the desire. And then the one who is saved from this will be the successful one. Right? So this is what will keep happening every day to the soul and the heart until you find your own tranquil state. But you have to understand that which is being affected, where everything is stemming from. Now, we want to go and change, to make ourselves better and to make the world a better place. Right? That's what we want to do. We want to arrive at this state. To do anything in this world, right? Whatever you want to do, we need energy. Right? It's all about energy. If I want to come here, I have to expend some energy to write, to do this, to think, right? You want to serve, you want to do this, you'll have to expend energy. Energy that we expend comes in different forms. So like somebody wants to be a great athlete. What type of energy will that person have? Right? Even though energy is the same, but what happens? How is he converting his energy? Right? He's converting it into what? Just energy for sport. You don't expect that energy of his to go out there and heal people. Right? He's just like one of these runners who broke the 2-hour marathon mark. Right? That's what he is. He's got the energy to run. Right? He's put in the effort and he's acquired that energy to go and do that. But that's the energy that he has. Now, as you can see, energy will take different forms in the world. It will take different forms. Now, what is the type of energy that we want to bring into the world? Really, as Muslims, as the Khalifas of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? We mostly want to bring the energy of what? Mercy, love, and healing. That's what the world needs. Right? Mercy, love, and healing. How do we bring this into the world? How are we going to change the world? By having this energy. But how do we bring it into the world? Now think about this. Every human being who has come into this world has had this in them. The ability to love, right? The ability to be merciful, and the ability to heal. Every human being. So let's say we call it units. They have a unit of this, unit of that, unit of that. And there have been what? Like over 10 billion human beings since we came to this world. Each one of them, Allah has given this energy. Each one of them. And they've taken it into the world. And they've used it whether to bring up their families, their children, to get married and all that, right? Yet, Allah did not take from this one to give to that one. Which means what? Allah has infinite store of this energy. This energy of love, this energy of mercy, this energy, it's infinite with Him. So you want to go into the world and bring this into the world and help human beings. Where do you get it from? From Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're going to get it from turning to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you want to change the world, you want to change yourself, you have to turn towards Allah even more. But how does this energy come into the world? How it come into the world? Right? And it's interesting because even science now acknowledges that everything is energy. Everything is energy. Right? Once at some point they came to molecules, then they realized, okay, we can still break down molecules to atoms, and then they broke it down and kept breaking it down, and then eventually gluon, quarks, whatever, right? And then finally they said it's all energy. And then amazingly they say we don't know what energy is. Well, what's how? They say we don't know what it is, but it's the one functioning in the world. And it's true, because if you look at when I'm attracted to, when an infant is attracted to the mother, the infant doesn't have a concept of love and mercy. But what is it that attracts the infant to the mother? What is it that makes this infant excited when it sees the mother? What is this thing? What is this attraction? What is it that makes me fall in love? Where is it coming from? Is it chemical reactions? If everything was just chemical reactions, let's find those chemicals and make pills out of them. Then nobody will get angry. Everybody will be happy if we find the happy pill. Right? Nobody will be sad. Nobody will kill the other one. Well, why can't we find it? Because that's not where the human being, his emotions and everything doesn't stem from the physical body. It's from the soul and the heart. Right? So when they're being attracted, what is it? It is this that is coming from the heart towards the other one, and the other one senses it. It's that feel that brings us together. It is that feel that makes us get attracted to the other one, right? So this energy which we want to use to change our state, to change ourselves, and to change the world, how is it going to come through? It's through the heart. It is through the heart. That's the container that is changing. That's the container that attracts or repels. Right? And I have a story that I like narrating to give us this understanding of what it means to be a human being. Okay? This understanding of the soul and the heart. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, think about this, has created all this beauty that we see. Really, amazing diversity. Beautiful, all of it. And then, after creating all of this, which is an expression of His richness and beauty, we want to say that all what He wants for human beings is this miserable state we keep finding ourselves in. This constricted state that we are in, where we can't even wake up and feel great about life. We can't express life with joy. Really. Wallahi. Muslims and non-Muslims alike. Is that what really Allah would want for us? What has gone wrong? Maybe we have failed to understand who we are worshipping. And failing to understand who we are worshipping is a failure of what? Understanding the teachings of our religion. Why would Allah create all of this and then His most favored creation? Right? Why would He just want him to be in this particular state? How many of us wake up every day and say, wow, life? Or people meet us and feel great about life? Really? How many are doing that? Even the young people now, they will tell you very early, we are bored. They're already bored with life. How is it possible? What has gone wrong? Right? Those who are in constriction, how do they come out of it? Those who are in affliction, how do you come out of that? How do we come out of that? How do we find joy in all that constriction and affliction that we are in? Those who have suffered losses that some of us can't even begin to understand. Those who have lost their families and their children in these wars, and their husbands and their wives and their mothers, right? And now they're struggling to understand life. What solutions can you offer them? Do we tell them that, oh, this is what Allah expected for you, wanted for you? Allah expects to test He's going to test every human being. But is He saying, I want you to be miserable on earth? Right? That's not what He's saying. Where is that origin? Where is the origin of that state you're in? Where is the origin? It's here. You have to understand here. But what does Allah intend for this place? What does He intend for you? Right? So this is the container that Allah is going to use. This is what makes a human being. That's what the human being has to know, his nature. If you don't understand your nature, then the way you pursue the world may be very much against you. It will be harming you. Right? Before I read from a book here that I'd love to read a little bit, I want to explain this power of the heart, which I've explained before. For those who have heard me before, explain it. This can be verified by reading a book by Sheikh Kabir Helminski, who talks about his teacher who passed away, rahimahullah, Sheikh Suleiman Dede. Sheikh Suleiman Dede was from Turkey, and he just used to live in a small town in Turkey. I can't remember exactly which town. And he had never left Turkey all his life. So Kabir Helminski narrates how when they were young Americans, they went down to Turkey to try and learn the religion of Islam, and they became Muslims by meeting Sheikh Suleiman Dede, and they spent time with him, and then they had to go back to America. So they went back to America, and after a while they thought to themselves, why not bring the Sheikh to America? So they raised money, sent a ticket, and people put the Sheikh on a plane who had never left the little town he had been born in. And Sheikh Suleiman Dede was never a big man, just only that man. So he boards the plane, gets to Los Angeles airport, and as he's walking, going towards the customs, to where he's supposed to meet, those are waiting for him, lo and behold, the people in the airport start following him. Someone they'd never seen all their lives, they'd never met. Right? And the crowd was so big that the airport authorities gave him a room. Said, okay, sit down here. And all these people who had never seen him before in their lives, they just wanted him to pray for them. How is that possible? Can you imagine yourself now landing in a country where you've never been before, and people following you, just happy to follow you, right? And on Netflix now you have the Messiah, isn't it? Oh my God. Right? So people are following the Messiah. But if you think about that, how is it possible? What makes people follow a human being they've never seen before? Really? Is it not the power of his state? What his heart was reflecting, that people were attracted towards. And what was it? The mercy, the love, and the healing that they could find with him. This is the human being. This is what Allah has given the human. This is what makes us great. The heart. The power of the heart. Now we are all looking outward to find joy in life. Instead of looking inward, all the things outward are a means to uncover that state inside of you that Allah has already put in you, the potential. So this is how this man went and changed the world. So you want to change yourself, change the world around you, change the people around you, right? The container for that is what? The heart. Because how are you going to do it? Through the light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Through that spiritual light. And I think I recently sent a clip where Imam Zaid Shakir was talking about how we should tap into this spiritual light and we change the world. That's what we need to do. So how are we going to do that? Again, it's our religion. It's our religion that will bring each of us individually to a peaceful state. And then collectively. So religion was never the problem. It was the failure of man to know who he is. That's the whole problem. Human beings have been conducting our lives as per systems which are against us. And we're still doing it. When we Muslims pursue the one in the same manner as a non-Muslim or an unbeliever, what does it say about us? When we are troubled every day, we're in the same state of anxieties and worries as the non-Muslim, what does it say about our religion then? Right? You have to think about that. What makes it different? It's the failure to grasp what our religion is trying to tell us. So when I said right at the beginning, what is religion aiming for? What is it aiming for? It's trying to teach you that, look, the conflicts in the world will not stop. They will never stop. As long as human beings don't know who they are, they will harm each other. And because Allah has given us free will, we will do that. We will do that. So you cannot go all over the world and stop people from conflicting. You just have to kill them, isn't it? Because the conflict stems from their soul. It's inside of them, which they don't know. And you can't reach out and remove it. Right? So you're not going to stop that. But what you're going to do is, how do I handle that as a human being who has understood what I am? As a human, so we have to question ourselves, is our religion bringing us to that place of contentment with life, happiness, joy, flourishing, living, right? Most of us are existing. That's the way we're going through life. We're just existing. So Muslims don't look like we have solutions for the world. Okay, that's the problem. We don't look like we have solutions for the world. The solution is already with us. We have the solutions for the world. But we have to convince people that we have the solutions by becoming what our religion wants us to become. And then we take it into the world. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, going back to that, which I was finishing, this energy of mercy, of love, the healing energy, it's abundant with Him. It's abundant with Him. Now, every time you are working on your inner state, what is happening? As your soul is ascending and your heart is ascending to these higher states, the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is such that you become a healing power in the world. You become a source of mercy. You become a source of love. You become a source of wisdom in this world. This will happen. That's the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the benefit of our deen. We're not going to remove the constrictions that we find in the world. They will be there due to human actions, especially disobedience. Right? I just want to read something here to point to us something about this power we have in us, in our religion. But before I do that, as Muslims, we have to ask ourselves, really, are we doing enough? Are we really doing enough as Muslims? Do we want to do more? Can we do more? And why am I saying that? I have in front of me a book, right? I'm just going to show you the title. Right? It's called The Power Within. Okay? The man who wrote the book is not a Muslim. Right? He went through some crises and followed a spiritual path. But what he discovered was the power within us. Right? And he's brought this into the world, the teachings, and it's benefiting millions of human beings. Right? So these are people who have gone inside and found out how we can help the world. Where are we? Where are we? Do we care about that? Now, a second one here is called subtle activism, right? And again, the inner dimension of social and planetary transformation. Transformation, right? So again, these are people who are concerned about making the world a better place. And they're not Muslims. So with this man, just to tell you what they say about the book, only by accessing the healing and spiritual potential of the power within can we respond as individuals and collectively to the challenges involved in the birthing of a globally interconnected and loving world. Loving world. What was Rasulullah trying to do? Really? To make the world a better place for everyone. To guide them to that which is better for them. So now we have non-Muslims who are doing this. And we Muslims are doing what? We are struggling with the life of the world more than the non-Muslim himself. Right? Now in this one, the subtle activism, listen to what he says. It is especially important to recognize that the processes of individual and collective transformation are profoundly intertwined. The work an individual does on behalf of herself not only enables her to become a purer and more effective instrument for healing the collective, but at deeper levels can itself be a source of transformation whose effects extend beyond the individual. So it is people pursuing a path where they've come to realize that the more they are working on their inner purity, the more they will be able to affect even those going beyond themselves into the world. So what are we doing as Muslims? Who has the best access to this inner power? We do. Right? We do have that access. Now I'm going to read about, have you ever heard of the Heart Math Institute? You really should visit their website and buy their book, Heart Math. I know even some of our sheikhs have really mentioned that, right? But I read something here that they discovered about the heart of the human being. So, Heart Math's work eventually attracted neuroscientists and cardiologists from a wide area. What they found out was the threefold torus surrounding the human body, right? So that's the threefold torus that surrounds the human body. So this is like your energy field, okay? So this is what they found out. Such electromagnetic configuration as this torus from the heart surrounds and embraces our body, right? Of particular interest, these individual formations from our heart are essentially of the same makeup as our planetary torus forms arising from the Earth's core. We are connected, right? These planetary flows arc out and back at the magnetic poles, creating the ionosphere embracing the body of the Earth and extending far beyond. As Earth's magnetic field streams out into space, so the heart's electromagnetic field streams out beyond our body, both for indeterminate distances. Sheikh Suleiman Day. Further, these magnetic waves of heart and earth fuse or merge in varying ways depending on the coherence of our heart's field. Coherence in this case means regularity or orderliness of those wave frequencies. Given that coherent regularity, heart's field frequencies can and automatically will mesh or fuse with correspondingly regular frequencies such as those surrounding the earth or those of other people in a similar state of coherence. Coherent heart fields within us, individuals merge into those of the earth, radiating fields, which in turn merge with those of the sun. Thus we are incorporated into and reciprocally interact directly and indirectly with this whole solar system to the extent our heart fields are coherent. I mean, subhanAllah. Right? This is empirical information, right? Telling us just how we are connected, how we are affecting the earth that we are in, the environment that we are in. This is what religion is trying to tell us. This is what religion is aiming for. Imam al-Ghazali, we are told that, when he had his breakdown, right? I don't need to go through the story, but when he had his breakdown and then he packed his goods and he left. And why did he have his breakdown? Right? Why did he have that? See, Imam al-Ghazali had everything, right? He was a scholar, he was being showered with everything, he was given a big university to teach, right? Being praised by everyone. So he had all this. Why did he have his breakdown? What was it that made him break down? Have we ever thought about that? He had everything, but he still wasn't experiencing that joy of life. Really, I have all this, I'm being showered, but my inner state, I'm just like these other guys out here. And then he goes out, leaves everything, goes into wherever he went, he did his learning, he comes back, writes his big voluminous copy, and what does he say? He begins by saying what? That what he discovered was the knowledge that every human being should pursue first and foremost. The knowledge of the self. This is what Imam al-Ghazali said. Know who you are. Know that which is living life, the heart and the soul. And then you will traverse this earth peacefully. Right? Now, just to finish off, think about ourselves as individuals. Are there ways of knowing whether we are balanced or imbalanced, even as individuals? Really, what is one way we can look at something? I feel I'm not really balanced. Do you recognize your own inner conflicts? Do you know when you're at peace or not at peace? Do you know which state you're supposed to come into? Right? Now, one of the things I've seen a lot that indicates to me, the state that most of us are in, which I would say most human beings are in a very restless state. We're just restless. But we're not aware that we're restless. What are the signs that we are restless? What are the signs? Right? And I'll tell you, look out for these signs. One of them is what? We are constantly in motion. Constantly. What do I mean by this? Our senses are constantly engaged. We can't switch off. We can't switch off. We have to talk, we have to watch, we have to listen, we have to move all the time. Right? Why is that so? We think that's the norm. We think that's the norm. I was at the bus stop just now coming here. At the most, it was 5 minutes wait. There was a lady next to me. She did not stop for 10 seconds. Right? I almost thought, you would think she's mad, but she was beautifully dressed. I wanted to ask, are you okay? She could not stand still. Why is that so? We think that's the norm. We're always moving, constantly. Right? Look at the youngsters now. They're restless and they don't even know it. They want to watch, they want to watch, they want to watch, they want to watch. What has happened? Where is it coming from? How can you be focused? How will you be productive in life if that's the state we are in? Where is it originating from? Boredom. They say they're bored. Where does boredom originate from? What is boredom? Is it a mental thing? Is it really a mental thing? Right. Then we just solve the mental issue and we stop getting bored. If we don't see that these things already have an effect in the soul and the body are working together. The corruption has gone into the soul. So the soul is agitated. It's not restful anymore. And when it is in that state, it will manifest the body. And that's what's happening. All this motion that we can't switch off from. So now the Muslim is like the non-Muslim. The non-Muslim is in constant motion. Really. It goes home, he switches on the TV, the music. Right? Today we visit each other and we switch on the TV and we want to talk. Why? Even Muslim, we do that. The TV is on. Why are we switching on the TV? Why can't we enjoy our conversations? This is just a small indication of the state that we are in. We are not in a restful state. And then this will also affect, bigger issues in our lives. Right? How we're going to interact with our family members, if we are not restful. And that's why we will have these conflicts. All these conflicts are stemming from that restlessness, that anxiety, that fear. Right? All these things constantly going in here and affecting us. We have to understand how to come to that restful state. How to bring things to tranquility. Right? So we have the power with us. We have in our teachings. This is what our religion came to tell us. This is what you are. This is what you are. You cannot escape it. So even if there was no religion, will human beings find peace? You cannot until you know who you are. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created you and put two opposing forces in you. And these opposing forces will constantly vie. As per what? The dunyawiyah. The pursuit of that dunya. That's how they'll be vying. Now if you don't know that, what happens? I once told someone, religion is the problem. I said, why do you go home and fight your wife? You don't believe in God. Maybe you're still fighting your wife and children. You tell me you're having a problem with your wife and kids. Well, I'm not there. There's no Muslim in your house. Why are you doing that? Because you don't know who you are. But it is important for us to aspire. Really, this is my exhortation to all of you. Our religion has solutions to all the problems in this world. All the problems in this world, our religion has solutions. Even if sometimes the solution is your own death, it is still a solution. It is still a solution. You may have to die for something to become better. But it's still a solution if you know that your death is as per what your religion expects of you. So to do that, we have to ask ourselves practical steps. Please, ask ourselves practical steps to do this. Right? And one of the things is intensity. Intensity. We have to practice our deen a lot. Wallah, we have to practice a lot. I encounter the power of our religion almost weekly. Really, I encounter it almost weekly. Every week, I'm shown what our deen is to us. Just 2 days ago, I was doing a ruqya, and alhamdulillah, there were a lot of things that happened, but I'll just mention what happened at the end, just to show the power of our deen. I always try to get the patient to recite at the end the ikhlas and the mawida thing. And in this particular case, the patient was reciting ikhlas, no problem, 3 times, al-falaq, no problem, 3 times. Then we came to Qul a'udhu birabbin nas. So, Qul a'udhu birabbin nas, malikin nas, ilahin nas, nothing. Nothing. And we repeated this like 7 times. This person could not say min sharril waswasil khannas. Sealed completely. So all what I did was, my hand was on the person's head, and I did this. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammadin al-Fatih lima ukhliq wal khatim lima sabaq nasir al-haqqa bil haqq wal hadi ila siratika al-mustaqim wa la al-haqqa kabir. And I kept repeating this until the person said, it's coming out of my ear, because now the pain was so intense, and eventually they recited. They recited it. So there is evil out there, and there's power in our deen. There's power in our deen. So all of us, when we are having issues in life, the solution is in our religion. But we have to have patience and persevere. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu isbiru wasabiru warabitu. Have patience, persevere, and fortify. Right? Think about the hadith of Rasulullah about the man who came to him and said, he had a stomach problem. And he said, go and have honey. And the man went and took honey. Came back the next day and said, it's become worse. He said, go and take more honey. So he came back the second day, said it become worse. Rasulullah said, go and take honey again. Now he went for the 3rd day, took honey. The 4th day he came, he said, I'm healed. And Rasulullah said what? Yeah, because Allah spoke the truth. But his stomach lied. Right? So he had impurity in his stomach. But what's the lesson here? There are 2 lessons here. Number 1, what Allah's promised you will always be fulfilled. It will be. But sometimes we have to go through pain for that to be fulfilled. If we are not ready to take the pain, we're not going to change anything. That's the reality. Right? Think of people who get on a boat, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says they get on the boat and then a big wave comes, a storm. And then they call upon Allah. Like, we will become from amongst the grateful if you save us from this. Then Allah says, when we save them, they go back to their shirk. Right? Now you think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't know they were going to go back to their shirk? They were. He knew that. So if these people call upon Allah and they're going to go back to their shirk and He saves them, what about the believer? Who is more of a priority? Isn't it not the believer? We are a priority. So we should ask ourselves, when we are calling upon Allah, why is He not rescuing us immediately? Because He wants us to learn more, to become better, to become stronger, to understand who we are. Because if He saves you and you don't know anything about you, what happens? You'll be calling Him back again for the same issue, time and time again. I will stop there and take some questions here, inshallah.
I think to do the questions, I think we have to say food now. Should we put it after food?
We'll do it now. Just get ready. So it's a good question, referring to when someone is severely affected by other people's conflict. It's a good question, especially with regard to the topic we're discussing. That there's always conflict around us, always, right? Like I said, you come into a relationship, you are at peace, but then you'll find people in conflict. So my answer to that, would be, number one, you keep working on yourself, right? Because do not have any doubt. The grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is such that as you are ascending, you will solve these conflicts. Because He will give you the wisdom. He will give you the, right? So don't run away. Rasulullah said, don't run away from the harm that people are bringing over to you. That's not what you do. We still try. There was an issue. I think it was Udayfa ibn al-Yamama, who went to Rasulullah and said, my people, they're just annoying me. They're not listening to me. And give me permission to leave. And they had this. They went to Rasulullah and said, how can he leave? He's the only one reminding us. We need him. So he was still a source of hope for people. So be in that climate, ask Allah's help. That being in that climate is the means for you to become what? To become better, to become strong, isn't it? If you don't find conflict in your lives, how are you going to know what inner strength you have? If you don't find the challenges in your life, you're not going to find what inner strength you have. So we don't want to run away from that, but we want to use that to make ourselves better and to be a source of healing in these conflicts. There is in the Quran where we're told to pursue everything with ihsan, right? With ihsan. How are you going to practice your ihsan if you walk away? And just to finish on this point, sometimes we hear Muslims who say, I think I need to leave this country and go and live somewhere else. My iman will become stronger and da. No, really. You're here for a purpose. You're here for a reason. Okay? Now let's say Allah intended you to get to level 7 through the challenges put in England, London. And you just believe you need to move to somewhere in North Africa or in the Middle East. Now you go there and what do you find? There's no more challenge. So what happens? You don't grow. You're not transformed. You thought it was good for you. Right? It is through these challenges, through these means that we respond with ihsan. Right? And that's how we approach the means. If you want to find out how the means will change you, is you have to approach the means with what? Ihsan. كتب الله الإحسان على كل شيء. And we were created for what? ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا. أحسن عملا. So ولا تستوي الحسنات ولا سيئة. ادفع بالتي أحسن. Remove that which is evil with that which is ahsan. From ihsan. I'm not going to go into detail of ihsan and that concept. There is a talk I did before which people can have a look at that, inshallah. But that's the whole message of life, is ihsan. So please look at it as an opportunity. The conflict that you're finding yourself being caught up in, look at it as an opportunity to help you arrive at that state of ihsan and practicing ihsan, inshallah. The other question is, in the current climate, the education system plus society has instilled in children that they have the power to do as they wish. How do parents tackle this conflict? And is it common for parents to encounter these conflicts? So again, within the talk, what I said earlier on, that there will be systems which will try to tell you how you're supposed to conduct your life. And one of them, unfortunately, is the education system. Right? It's taking over our minds from a very early age and telling us this is how life is supposed to be. And then, when our children came into the world, we were loving them. We were overjoyed. We couldn't stop buying them nappies and everything they wanted, right? And then 10 years down the line, they're a source of conflict. And we wanted them. Just like we wanted to get married, and now it's become a source of conflict. So yes, the education system is doing this a lot to our children. How are we going to challenge that? How are we going to help our children, traverse this? I used to call it najasa, not in a bad way. That is, we go there and we get caught up in najasa, so we have to come back and do what? Tahara. We have to do some cleansing. And this is real. This is real. Don't take it lightly. Fill your houses with a lot of nur. Really, fill it with nur. I know the power of this. Wallah. And I never say these things to praise myself. Wallah, I was my shine. I say them so that I can tell Muslims what you can be. That's what I tell people. You have evil that is trying to encompass you. You collect your angels. Collect the nur and see what that evil will do. It will flee your house. It will flee your house. I know this experiential. That's why I share this thing. Sometimes when I go to do ruqya, before I get to the house, the victim is running away. They're opening the back door. They want to run away. I'm on my way. Why? Why are they running away? As far as I can tell, it's me. What else is there? The evil knows what is there, what is coming. So that's one thing. This is how we are going to help our children. We have to fill our houses with that nur. Wallahi, I recently did a ruqya to a lady, and sometimes you have to do a lot to try and get to what is going on. When I finished, they were still, I just said to the family, I said, look, we have done so much reading here, and alhamdulillah, Allah gives me the ability. I do about 2 hours or so reading. I said, don't worry, let's see what the reading will do. Guess what happened the next day? She ran away from the house. She ran away from the house. Right? So there's your reading. So this is just I'm giving an indication of what we should be doing in our houses to help our children. That's number one. I said intense practice of our deen. If we can watch TV for 2-3 hours, why can't we read? Al-Baqarah is 1 hour. It's 1 hour, isn't it? You read Al-Baqarah, mashallah, for those who are fluent in it. Right? And what are we told when we read Al-Baqarah? What happens? Shaitan doesn't enter for what? 3 days. Right. So that's number one. Number two, be calm. Well, I forwarded a talk recently to Faisal. Shah Hamza Yusuf was talking about how we've let down our youngsters, isn't it? You should listen to this. It's only a 4-minute clip. How we have failed the younger generation and how we can change that. Right? So we have a responsibility to make their world better. And I'm telling you, so let's take a good example here. They're teaching our children evil in school. Right? And now it's going to begin at the age of 5. Number one, realize this. Have we failed? We have. Why? Because Allah says, Man ra'a minkum munkar. Rasulullah said, Man ra'a minkum munkar. فَلْيُغَيِّرُ بِيَدِهِ. This is a munkar. What they're teaching children is a munkar. And there are places where people have come together and stopped it. But what about when Muslims just take our children there without thinking, what can I do about this? Who said you can't do anything about it? Why are we reducing the ability of Allah to change things? One day Rasulullah woke up in the morning and there was no food in his house. And he said, Ya Allah, I am going to fast today, and through this fasting, forgive my ummah. Through this fasting, forgive my ummah. This is Rasulullah. He was offering a fast for all of us to the end of time, for us to be forgiven. So he's seeking a means to look for Allah's help. Are we seeking means to look for Allah's help? وَابْتَغُوا الْوَسِيلَةَ إِلَى اللَّهِ. Seek means towards Allah. Are we doing that? Really? There is in a Zaytuna website, there is a hadith that they have put there on the website, which says, when 12,000 hearts unite for something, Allah will give them. Have you seen this hadith? It's on Zaytuna website. It's a hadith. When 12,000 hearts unite for something good, Allah will give them. So if 12,000 of us are offering something to Allah, remove this evil from us, you think He will remove it? He will remove it. He will remove it. So we can help our children by doing what? Offering ourselves as sources of protection for our children. We may find it inevitable that we're going to send them to school, they will keep learning this, but we have to come home and show them what our religion is, who they are, teach them mercy, teach them love, and let them see the beauty of religion on us. And then make your dua. Just keep making your dua. Just keep making your dua. رَبَّنَا هَبْ لَنَا مِنْ أَزْوَاجِنَا وَذُرِّيَّتِنَا قُرَّةَ أَعْيُنٍ وَاجْعَلْنَا لِلْمُتَّقِينَ إِمَامًا. So just to finish this, we are not helpless. We are not helpless. Allah did not create the world for evil. No. He created the world for good. He didn't want evil to win in the world. That's why He supports the good with what? 10, 700 times or even more. But we have to offer the good for Allah to help us. He can defeat the evil around us. And remember this, when there is a war, within the war there will be battles. You may not win the war, but you will win some battles. Okay, that's the way it is. But the battles have to be fought. وَجَاهِدُوا لِلَّهِ حَقَّ جِهَادِهِ. Each one of us is still a resource of Allah's mercy, love, and healing in this world. Tap into that. Tap into that. Take it into the world. Take it to all those who are suffering. Take it to our fellow Muslims. Give them solutions. You are in ni'mah. Did Rasulullah say, love for your brother what you love for yourself? None of you is a believer until you love him. Don't we love for them to find peace, to find joy? Ask yourself that. Jazakumullah khair.